Hello everyone, welcome to this new video about Siebel OpenUI HTML elements. So in this video I'm going to discuss about the HTML elements that you see in the browser window and how to select these elements and how to use them in CSS and jQuery. Now if you look at the application, all the data that you see, all the images, everything that you see is coming from HTML. We can select any element and we can inspect it and see that the element is having the actual data that is shown in the UI. So all the elements that are shown in the UI are under some HTML tags. For example, this description is under a div tag. We have a span tag, the HTML tags. We can have table. This is actually a HTML table, so we have a table tag here. We have divs, we have hyperlinks, anchor tags. So these are the different HTML tags that are getting used here. So all the content that you see is actually coming from web template. So I have taken one web template as an example, and if I see the web template in HTML language, you see that all the elements are actually with HTML elements and SW elements. SW elements are rendered from Siebel server, and they form their own tags that we declare in Siebel tools. So all the content that you see, for example, this toolbar is coming from page container web template. This is this is also coming from the container. This is the screen bar. Okay, this is the list applet. This is coming from a list web template. So everything, all the elements that you see are coming from web templates, and uh, the data in the elements and extra additional functionality, everything for these elements are getting created by use of JavaScripts. So every applet, every every logical element, even the navigation controller, the menus, menu of the applet, everything has its own JavaScript file associated to it, and that file creates the element as and when necessary to the UI. Now, we understand that there are a lot of elements here, but we want to identify particular element and do something with it. For example, hide it, make style changes to it, mm, get the data in the element and use it for some processing. So to get the particular element, or to say to identify, to query the particular element, we have lot of query techniques. So uh, CSS and jQuery use similar syntax to query elements. So all the elements that you see in this page will have either classes or attributes or ID associated to it. Now, uh, class is nothing but we group a certain kind of elements together and give them a common name. For example, I have a drill down here and I have a drill down here also. Both of them should look similar. Both of them on hover should give an underline. Both of them should have the same color, same behavior. So this element and this element will have the same class. So if I inspect this element, I see that this element has class drilled on. If I inspect the other element, this will have the same class as drilled on. So classes basically group together similar elements in your web page so that they can be um, accessed, they can be styled together, they can be queried at one go. Um, One element can have multiple classes, and those multiple classes can be declared with separation of space. I have the class drilled on here. I can add one more class giving a space saying test drilled on. And if I query with the class test drilled on, I'll be able to get this element. If I query with drilled on also, it'll it'll be available. So one element can have multiple classes, and it can be accessed using either of them or both of them uh, with an AND condition together also. An element can only have one ID. It cannot have multiple IDs. You cannot have a space with an in between the uh, ID field here, ID attribute. Apart from IDs and classes, you can select elements based on their properties also, like the title property, the area labeled by property, or whichever. So let me take an example here. I want to select all the let's say all the drilled on elements. So what I'll do is I will select one drilled on element and identify that it has one particular class. So I'm going to my console. Console is the easiest tool to run your queries real time and see whether your queries or your syntax is correct or not. So here I'm doing a uh, jQuery select. All the classes can be selected by giving a dot. So I'll select the dot drilled on, and it will be enclosed with between single quotes or double quotes and brackets with dollar at the beginning. So if I enter, it will give me all the hyperlink elements available in my present web page, and I'll be able to select everything in one go. This is a class selector. I can select using ID also. So I'll copy this ID and I'll try to select this. IDs can be selected using a hashtag. Now when I enter, it will give me the element. So I can just say give this particular ID and say in under this particular column I want to get the column value and do some operation on it. So that will be under jQuery. So this is how I select the using an ID. Now I can select the same using any other attribute. For example, I'm selecting all the elements with name title is equal to search. So for an attribute, you do the same thing. Instead of giving a hashtag or ID, you have to say you have to declare the uh, you have to search using the attribute, and make sure that the quotes that you give on the outer and the inner values are different. If you use double quotes outside, use single quotes inside, so that the browser will be able to evaluate your application. Now when I enter, it will give me all the elements that has these values with title is equal to search. So the outer table box, table cell has title research, and the inner drill down also has title research. So you can select using this. Now since I know that I already got the values here, I can perform some operations like I can hide these. This is hide function in jQuery. It hides the control the column cell here. So I can again go back and show. So we use we select the elements, we use the elements properties, elements IDs, classes, um, and we use them to select the elements. Now I have used the jQuery approach here to show you how to select it in jQuery JavaScript files. The same thing without the dollar brackets and the single quotes. You can select the same thing in CSS also. Now if I just select it, I have already created one custom theme file. I select it and say display none. Now it is hidden. So you can use the same selectors that you use in jQuery and CSS. You can use multiple conditions, and condition, child condition, immediate child, nth child, similar conditions to query for a particular element in your web page. For example, I knew that the title research is present in two elements. One is the external table cell and the internal uh, hyperlink. Now I want to hide only the hyperlink element. So if I uh, uh, hyperlink element has HTML tag A. So if I just give a dot, sorry, just a, so it will select anchor tags with title is equal to research and hide it. So if you don't give a space between multiple selectors, it will search for the and condition and get you the element. If you give a space, if I say a space something, it will search for elements under the a tag and search it. For example, we know that the table cell has title is equal to research under it in an anchor tag. So I will give this, this will do the same operation. So it will go to the table cell, it will search for title is equal to research element under the table cell. That is nothing but our anchor tag. So with a space, it searches for the child, and with a space, it searches for the child, grandchild, and all the way down to the hierarchy. But if you want to search only the immediate child of the element, you can use this greater than symbol. So this will give you the immediate element under the table cell. This will not search the whole hierarchy beneath the table cell here. So there are multiple ways of selecting a particular element using the syntax here. The syntax will be same for CSS and jQuery. Um, so we pretty much deal with all the elements. We select the elements. Um, we style the elements based on the selectors. We identify classes. So it is based on our knowledge. We have to identify whether that particular class is what we are looking for or not. For example, the drill down here, I see that it is common for all the drill down elements. I have to just query in the console and see that all the elements that I get are the same. Like this is also a drill down element, this is also a drill down element. So I compare it and see whether all the elements that are selected are what I am looking for and my selector is the right one. Siebel already has a lot of selectors by default, so you can pretty much copy selectors from theme aurora.css and try to override them. For example, the drill down font size is 13 pixel here from theme aurora.css. So you pretty much copy the highlighted style in the filter. The other styles are not applicable to this, so we can declare same style for multiple elements using comma separated values. But here I have multiple elements with same font size, but this is the selector that is applicable to me. I can say all the table headers and the anchor tags have red color. But when I inspect the anchor tags, it will tell me my anchor tag element is the rule that is the selector element because of which this rule is getting applied. So you have to select the highlighted style here. You copy it into your custom CSS file. You make the changes real time, test it out, and copy paste everything that you test in real time into your actual file, back to your actual file. So um, so this is how we select the element. We we can also select uh, elements based on sibling selectors. There are ways to select elements based on pseudo classes, pseudo queries. Uh, this video is not under that under the scope for pseudo queries, so it'll be much advanced for us. So at the moment we have to identify what the web page contains based on our elements, HTML elements, classes, IDs, and attributes. So I'll be using this selector elements for further CSS updates that I'm going to do into the application. So I'll I'll have another video on that again. So thank you.